to keep myself and my family afloat. The way that I see this fight right now, even against what is becoming sort of me and my fellow healthcare workers and anti-genocide, pro-Palestine British citizens, I still see that I'm fighting for Britain. And there are tiny moments where I think, okay, as a Palestinian, I'm literally, the entire point is that I'm fighting to stop this Holocaust. We are all fighting for Palestine. Why sort of do I have to do this fight? Why is Britain attacking me? Well, as far as I know, I've not done anything to hurt Britain or any British person. But the overriding feeling is that I'm still fighting for my fellow British people and their rights. And I guess as Palestinians, we just have to fight. I said this on X. We fight as Palestinians. We fight for our rights and the rights of those around us wherever.
The frenzy surrounding this case had reached fever pitch. Having returned to family home in Bristol, the site of her arrest, Dr. Ladwa reflected on the scale of vitriol and why it made no sense.
I never even expected that I would be where I am right now, being attacked for speaking about Palestine. I think a lot of people might feel like they've had this struggle for their lives, and I think that's completely normal. I think for me, I think maybe I didn't run into trouble. I just thought this was a normal thing, and that's just who I am and what I do. So I'd wear the kufiya, I'd wear the and I never thought that not only people who are pro-Israel or Zionist supremacists would have an issue. So I didn't think about that, because I thought, well, you say what you want. You post the Israeli flag and you say whatever you want. I don't come to attack you. I just leave you alone. I probably don't even. I don't come part. We don't cross paths. So to think that it's actually gotten to the point where I'm being, there's a demand for me to lose my medical license because I'm speaking about Palestine or just upholding our principles of liberation, our thawabit. All of those beliefs and all of those things that I've felt and known and had my entire life, they're also not illegal. I'm not saying anything illegal. I'm not inciting harm or violence. I'm not attacking anybody in particular. I haven't gone for anyone who is pro the terrorist entity, or I'm just using my freedom of expression and speech. But for me, nothing has changed. But somehow I'm now in this climate where the British state is siding with Israel just to literally silence me, to say what you've said now is too much. And I'm always thinking, I haven't said anything different. Like, I'm not sort of escalating. I'm not saying anything more radical, or as I call it, principled. But you somehow have such a huge issue. I was in the newspaper yesterday, the Telegraph. They didn't ask me for a comment, actually, but they said, I think the headline was doctor who, quote unquote, denied Holocaust. They say that because I say that what's happening in Gaza is a Holocaust. It is practically illegal to deny the Holocaust trademark, right? But the fact that I call it that, so they say, quote unquote, denied Holocaust, celebrates October 7 attack. And I thought, what I posted was, glory to the breaking of the 17-year-long illegal siege on Gaza, and glory to our martyrs. And I said I will never condemn. I posted my ex post from April saying I will never condemn the 7th of October. So I haven't said these things. I've said so many times. I've posted them. They're out there, but the attack is so severe for some reason. It's almost like they are trying to paint this picture that will somehow qualify that I should not treat British patients. And I find it so bizarre because I'm the same. People who know me in real life know that there's nothing different here. But that's why I posted today and I said, they keep smearing me and defaming me, but they don't interview me. They don't ask me to come on and speak to them so that the British public can hear me. Even open an investigation, yet here I am, a second investigation and a second hearing. This is a double jeopardy.
At the heart of the case against her is the safety of Jewish patients in Dr. Ladwan's care. Despite the fact in her years of practicing, there had previously been 0 complaints. It's clear that it's her vocal anti-genocide stance that is the issue, not her ability to treat her patients with care and respect.
I am campaigning against supremacy. I don't know why they think saying Jewish supremacy is somehow offensive. It's the supremacy part is the offensive. I'm literally saying Jews are equal to everybody else, which again is so tiring, right? Because I'm trying to say stop murdering Palestinians, right? And you keep wanting to center the safety of Jews who are safe. Okay, so Jewish patients are safe. Nobody's harmed them. Okay, no pro-Palestine anti-genocide healthcare worker or doctor has harmed a Jewish patient. We are being politically persecuted for words with this imaginary threat. What you're saying is there's a threat to Jewish supremacy that makes me a danger. And somehow I am a danger to patients. I can't, how could you treat me? You've got somebody who's saying there should be no apartheid. Yeah, we treat everybody equally. We're all equal. If you're non-Jew, if you're Jew, if you're whatever you are equal, right? Why is calling for equality and being against genocide somehow? Is that the Britain that we want? Is that the Britain? That's not the Britain that I thought I'd be living in 2025. Britain that says I cannot be a doctor if I am against supremacy and apartheid. But that's what they're trying to do. This is the fight that we're up against, and it's really sad. It's really, really sad. They can't prove that I've ever harmed a patient because I haven't, or ever been prejudiced. And all of the other doctors and healthcare workers that they've attacked, they can't prove it. But if they succeed, which they won't, because we'll fight them, but if they succeed in removing us from the medical profession, what will happen is you'll have you'll end up having an environment in healthcare in Britain where the people who were the most outspoken about the worst crimes ever that we've seen are no longer there. And I think that's the most dangerous part of all. If they start to introduce more of Palantir that is taking our patient data. This is a company that we know is involved with the Israeli occupation forces. If the privatization, any sort of corruption in the NHS, if the people there now have not spoken out against the mass murder of children, what guarantee do you have that they'll speak about that or stand against that? Because we will. You're guaranteed that we will. But if we're gone, then you're going to have what they want is the obedient, head down. Being a doctor, being a healthcare worker is a checklist. You do what you need to do. You're a shift worker. You go home, and that's so separate. But that's not what medicine. That's not the medicine. That's not why I became a doctor. That's not what medicine is. Healthcare is not just my list of jobs. It isn't just the operation I'm about to do. Yeah, it is. You have a role in society. You have a duty to your fellow humans. If you care about the sanctity of life, and you really, if you're a real doctor, then you're a doctor at all times, not just when you're prescribing a medication.
The harassment and targeting of the livelihoods and careers of other pro-Palestinian voices was now the blueprint of the Israeli lobby in the UK. When online harassment failed to lead to capitulation, the next step was a full-scale move to get these groups and individuals removed from their jobs, lose record deals, sponsorships, whatever it would take to shut them up.
Why?
The fact that Dr. Ladwan's arrest on trumped-up charges came just hours before she was supposed to face a tribunal for the second time in a matter of weeks was not coincidental. A night in the cells did nothing to dampen her resolve. The intensity of the attacks have spilled over into credible threats made against her life.
The most surprising aspect of these attacks were how they actually threatened my safety, my real life safety. The danger that I felt was being placed on me and my family. I think that was the most shocking, as well as how they've escalated, how it feels, how relentless they can be. I don't think there's been a few days where there hasn't been an attack since the defamation in the Daily Mail in February. I never realized it would be so intense like this, so real, quite dangerous, to the point where a few days ago I didn't get a death threat, and I thought, wow, I didn't get a death threat today. And then yesterday, someone commented and said, very soon, Rahmah, with a timer running out, sleep with one eye open. And when they first started happening, I thought, that's really strange. Like, I've never had that. But because of how intense they've gotten, and when I had to call the police, they've changed. The way that I see them has changed. It feels like a real threat. You know, somebody. This one was probably one of the worst ones, because I literally had to, like, I saw it on my phone and I had to do that in real life. And I don't know what I had just said. I think it was a post on X, and it was, my posts are always either mourning the Palestinian martyrs, or sharing news and like commentating on it, or saying that I'm sort of against the war crimes and the system that is being propagated, Zionism, Jewish supremacy. And somebody commented and said, I'm going to come to your house and slit your throat. And like, you know, when you just like you feel like your breath has been taken away a little bit. I think that's I don't know. I just don't understand why. I was thinking so many things were going through my mind. And I was like, well, this surely can't be a real person. Is this a bot? Why would a bot write that? Who's programmed the bot to write that? If it's a real person, then why would you want to slit my throat? Like, sorry. I think even like in a normal like setting, even when if people write, you know, really outlandish comments, or if people write outlandish comments, or if they say something that's a little bit like you think, yeah, you see sometimes people will post something that I think, oh, that's a dangerous thing to say, like that's not, or maybe, oh, that's a little bit, that's illegal, that's a threat that you've made. Like, I don't expect that people would go and threaten that person.
That means we don't need it to be translated when the woman who had 9 of her children.
Dr. Ladwan does not want pity and for the focus to be on her personal fight. The focus of her activism has always been for the innocents being subjected to a genocide at the hands of Israel and its backers, and for the care of her own patients.
I feel so ashamed to pity myself or get emotional, because there's just, there's Palestinians we know who like have lost like all their family members. There's like Palestinian babies in hospitals that are the only survivors of their families, and they don't know it because they're babies. But so it feels wrong to pity ourselves, or feel like, oh, we're going through so much. But I just think, I don't know, I don't expect to be treated in any way better than anybody else. So that's the whole point that we're campaigning for, is that we're all equal human beings. But it feels like, I don't know, like I feel like I have a duty to my community and my patients and the Palestinian people, especially that the bombs that are shredding them to pieces are, using my taxes. It's something out of my control, but I feel like I have a duty to be doing what I'm doing. And some people say, oh, well, you don't have a duty to say glory to the breaking of the 17-year siege. And I feel like I do, because not enough people say it. Not enough people center the right narrative.
The new tribunal adjourned the case, meaning this saga continues to hang over Dr. Ladwan. The General Medical Council, the GMC, denies that it's brazenly renewing legal action until it and lobby groups like the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism get the result they want. With no new evidence of wrongdoing presented, regulators seem content to simply drag the process out to maximize harm to Dr. Ladwan and her career.
Now you see what that did, and that made an independent ruling, an independent panel buckle. That is perversion of justice, of the rule of law in Britain. It may start at a hearing for a doctor, which I don't think we should take lightly, because we're here to save lives, to treat the British public. But that means that sets a really outrageous precedent where we might be seeing court rulings being negotiated again.
Despite the threats and the intimidation, this proud pro-Palestinian knows her purpose.
I try not to show my vulnerable side online for two main reasons. Exactly. One is that what I said, Palestinians are the focus. Yes, everybody's struggle is valid, but for me, it is just my everything I've gone through in terms of the emotional stuff. I am alive, right? I'll talk about it. I want to share the people story and voice who are not guaranteed to be here in an hour or tomorrow. I was just so upset about the Holocaust, and they put me in danger, like real danger. Then that's when I knew. I was really crying at work. I was just upset, and they went so far as to, me having to call the police. I realized then that when they see weakness, when they see emotion, they actually just escalate. They come harder at you, which is so on it.